Hi there, welcome to part three. What I want to say is buckle up because this is about to get really fucking good. Um, I am really diving in deep into this work, and it's so beautiful because I'm telling you, I have been working on this for 19 years. In 2007, I was so sick. And I got to the point where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And at that time, I had been trying to get pregnant. I was married in 2005. And before we got married, our relationship fell apart. But I just kept thinking, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it never did. It just kept getting worse and worse. But um, the point is, we had no relationship, but I still wanted to get pregnant. All I've ever wanted since I was a girl, a young girl, was to have two children. I always wanted to have two girls because I had a sister. There were two of us in the family. But then when my sister had her son first, she had a son and then a daughter, I was like, boys aren't so bad, maybe. And I remember my grandma, my beautiful grandma, before she passed away, she told me that she was going to talk to God and ask God to send me a healthy baby boy and a healthy baby girl. And so I always had this feeling that I was going to have kids, but like I said, our relationship fell apart before we even got married. And so, of course, I had trouble getting pregnant. But the interesting thing was, what I later found out was there were actually physical complications that were preventing me from getting pregnant. Now, these physical complications were causing a lot of pain for me. So, I was on Tylenol 3s every day just to get through the day. That's how much pain I was in. Anyone that's been on Tylenol 3s every day knows that that actually messes with your system a lot. And I just got to this point where I was just, like I said, so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have a relationship with my husband. I wanted to feel good enough to be able to put the effort into all of these things. It just felt like my life was really spiraling out of control. And anyway, my mother-in-law at the time told me about this system that she had tried, this energy medicine, and it healed her migraines. And it sounded crazy because at the time I was a computer programmer, very scientific. I would have said that I was religious even though I never went to church, but I had a strong belief in God and religion. I was Catholic. That's the religion that I was a part of. So it all seemed really crazy. But like I said, I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had surgery, like laparoscopy, so that they could go in and see what was wrong. I thought I had endometriosis because I was in so much pain all the time. And weirdly enough, when I came out of that surgery and the surgeon told me they found nothing wrong with me, that didn't make me feel better because then it was like, well, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why am I in so much pain? Why can I not get pregnant? And so I found the system. I made a phone call to this practitioner in Saskatoon, like that's an hour and a half away from me, and started just asking questions about it. And it sounded so crazy because she was talking about intuition, which is a word I had never even heard of before. And but like she was talking about it in such a way that it actually made scientific sense. She had been going in to be a doctor. She was going through med school, and I don't know how close she was to graduating, quite close. And she ended up with cancer, and this system helped her a lot. So it just seemed like the thing that I needed to try. And so not only did I sign up for a session, but I actually signed up for her workshop because there was something inside of me telling me that there was more to life than what I was seeing and believing. So I went for the session and it was like, it was weird because she barely touched me, yet she was telling me all these things that she was intuitively tuning into about me that nobody else knew. She had never met me before, but then she was telling me all these reasons why I was so afraid of getting pregnant and all the fears that I had. Anyway, before I left that city, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? It was so interesting. And the next morning I woke up and my pain was all gone. And I thought, there's just no fucking way that what she did or didn't do could have healed me. But it did. The pain has never returned. But the beautiful thing about this is that I was so intrigued by this that I took the 4-day workshop and I could not believe that I was intuitively tuning into people. Like I said, I had never even heard the word before. And I was healing people, which was blowing my fucking mind because I was not a healer. I didn't even know what I was. I would have considered myself a scientific, computer programmer. So anyway, I quit my full-time job the day I came back and dove right into the system and learned everything that I could about energy medicine, Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, healing, Western medicine. I just dove in. And like I said, my pain was gone. But then I just, like I said, I dove in. I took every workshop that I could, everything that I could learn. I started my practice like that day and started booking clients. And it was so amazing to me how people just kept showing up. People that I didn't even know. I had called 100 people that I knew and literally said, I don't even know what this is, but it's amazing. And 2 people showed up for sessions, my mom and her best friend. And then I was booked solid and I don't even know who these people were. Like the 98 of the people that I called did not show up other than my mom and her best friend. But people just wanted to come and get sessions from me. And I was getting incredible results of healing. So then I went to Calgary, which is in another province, and took a workshop with the founder of the system. And this was a few months later. This was, I think, June, July, when I had started in March of 2007. So very soon after, it's quite rare that you get to meet the founder right when you start a system, but that's just how the stars just all aligned. And in the workshop, what would always happen is the founder would, put everybody's name in a hat and then pick out names, and that person would get a session from him. And so I got the session. He pulled my name and I laid on the table and he put his hand on my abdomen and he was telling me that my body knew that I could not carry a pregnancy to term, that my body would have aborted it or miscarried. And that's why I wasn't getting pregnant. And I can't remember what he said. It was my endometrium lining was not getting thick enough. And so I had physical issues that were preventing me from getting pregnant. Was that where all my pain was coming from? I don't think so, because she had already worked on me and healed my pain. I'm sure it all had something to do with each other. Anyway, he put his hand on me and I could feel that I was healing. And I knew I was going to get pregnant. And I went home from that session and I was in the worst pain I had ever been in. I didn't know if all my pain was coming back or what was going on, but what I know now is my body was healing. And when our body heals, oftentimes we feel a lot more pain before we get better. And that's a good thing. And that's what I learned through the years is that's a really good thing. And so what was happening is my lining was building itself up. My body was healing. So I was going through all of this pain, but once it healed, I didn't have the pain anymore. And I got pregnant right away with my son, carried him, had a healthy, healthy pregnancy, healthy delivery, healthy baby boy. And 6 months after I had my son, I actually got pregnant again, had a healthy baby girl. So when this shit works, it works. Where am I going with this story? I'm not really sure, but what I'm here to share is the beauty of how life actually works, how healing works. And like I've said, so since that time, I've been intuitively allowing myself to be led and guided and listening to whatever it is the divine is telling me, and taking notes and piecing it together and learning more. And like I said before, for the past few years, I'm not learning anybody else's work. I am just intuitively being guided and led to create something of my own. And the founder of this system had told me years ago that I was going to go on to create my own thing. And he was always very encouraging. And it was always very exciting, but very scary to me because I didn't really know, how do you create a healing system? Didn't know, but now I get it. And it's all piecing itself together. It's all aligning. It's all making sense. And then he passed away a few years ago. And I can feel him encouraging me and leading me and guiding me through this. And so the interesting part of this, when I said buckle up, this is getting good, what I'm saying is every time I make these videos, I see something new and I get a new awareness and I go back to what I've created and I make changes. And, I was talking the other day, I showed the healing circle. Well, now it's actually turned itself back into this chart. I think it was yesterday that it actually showed itself to me. But what this is a flow chart. This is a flow chart of how to heal our trauma. And trauma comes from the stories that we tell ourselves about what happened in our lives. The times when we were hurt, we blame ourselves. That's what children do, is we think it's our fault. And so then we tell ourselves, we're not good enough, we're too weak, we don't deserve to be loved, whatever it is. So what I'm actually doing with this chart is charting our emotions, our thought processes that pull us out of the moment, back into our stories, back into our trauma, and ways that we things that we see in our lives when we're stuck in trauma. And then what I'm actually seeing, because like I said, for like 19 years, I've been taking fucking notes, keeping the notes that like I'll journal every day. And when I fill up a journal, I go back and I take out the things that are really profound and I put it together in a little place. And now what's happened through these 19 years is this is it. Like, these are all of the things that I've been charting and writing and discovering and envisioning. And now I can see that it's actually a flow chart to help us heal our trauma. Why wouldn't it be? And the beautiful thing about this is our physical issues actually come from our belief systems, what we believe to be true, the stress that creates in our body. So our belief systems create our thoughts, and our thoughts generate our emotions. And so when we feel these emotions, what we do is we react to them. when we're afraid, we stay afraid. When we're angry, we stay angry, or we stuff our anger. We're not expressing ourselves. We're not feeling our emotions. We're not leaning in. We're not wondering why we're thinking the things that we're thinking. We're walking around believing these things are true, and we just keep perpetuating the same cycle over and over and over. But what I'm here to do, I'm starting to really see this. What my purpose is through this healing system that I've created is to help you transform your trauma. Transform the trauma that is trapping you. It is keeping you stuck. It is keeping you stuck in addictions. It is keeping you depressed. It is keeping you anxious. It is keeping you sick. It is keeping you trapped in life. And I am here to help you interrupt that cycle and do something different. And I get frustrated. I get frustrated because I see a lot of people not healing. And I judge that sometimes. I'm like, why the fuck are people so stuck? Why are people not feeling their emotions? Why are people not questioning their thoughts? Why are people just being assholes over and over and over again? Why are people so fucked up? And I've been frustrated about it because, not that I haven't been an asshole, because I have, but I keep learning. I keep learning. I keep feeling. I keep healing. I keep expressing. I keep doing these things. And it's me getting cancer that helped me do these things. Me having 8 really fucking hard years. Well, I should say it's actually been 11 really hard years since my divorce. My divorce was just the beginning of a multitude of fuckery in my life. And as hard as it was, and as many hours as I spent on the floor in fetal position, fucking crying, freaking the fuck out, praying to die some days, here I am. The person who has really figured out how to transform the trauma that is trapping us. And that is what I'm here to share. I am here to share this with you. I am here to share it with the motherfucking world, because this is what we need. This is why people are so fucked up, because they don't know what to do. Because who is telling us what to do? I don't know anybody out there that is talking about how to heal our trauma. And that is what I'm here to do. That is what I'm here to do. So, let's fucking do this. So every time I make a video, every time I speak about what it is I'm here to do, I'm going to start to share how to interrupt that cycle, because that is what will heal us physically. That is what will heal us emotionally. That is what will heal us mentally. And that is what will heal us spiritually. This is how we heal addictions. This is how we heal depression. Some of it, not all of it. This is how we heal some anxiety. This is how we can heal PTSD. And I know this because I've healed my severe depression. I've healed my severe anxiety. I have healed my PTSD using this system that I've created. And I'm not here to overpromise and say anybody with depression is gonna heal. No. But a lot of people can. A lot of people with depression can heal using this system. A lot of people with anxiety can heal using this system. A lot of people with PTSD, chronic pain, whatever it is, can heal using this system. And the deciding factor is how much you want it and how hard you work to get it. It's not about paying me for a session and your life magically changes It's about, yes, you can come to me for a session. Yes, you can come to my healing circles. But what I want to help people do is learn how to use the system every single day so they can heal themselves and they can help heal others. I am here to spread this around the world, and it kind of feels like today is the first day of the rest of my life. What is today? Is there some significance? It's like July 10th, which is interesting because 17 is my number showing me that I am on track. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about part 3 now, and part 3 is the solar plexus chakra. And we are going to, my leg is really sore today. So we're going to look at the solar plexus chakra. And so what I did is I wrote on this card, and I actually made a lot of changes to what I did yesterday in the sensual sexual chakra. And I was going to talk about it today. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep doing these series. And every time you do one of these series, something's going to be different. Probably a lot is going to be different, but that's the beauty of this, is that I will never stop. I am really going to continue diving into this, and I'm going to change it every day, every week, every month. I don't know. But I'm just going to keep getting deeper and deeper into what this, healing is all about. So when we're looking at the solar plexus chakra, this is where our internal power comes from. So when we connect to that inner power, what we're doing is we're then creating healing in the relationships with our loved ones and our past. So this is what I changed from yesterday. I guess I will go into this. Connecting to the divine masculine and the divine feminine is what helps us form relationships with loving partners. But okay, so what I've actually changed from last night is I see that when we're connecting to this certain essence, this higher aspect of ourselves, what we're doing is we are improving the relationships that we have out there by improving the relationship we have in here. So what I've done is I've gone through and charted this over again. I'm just looking to see, did I make changes to the first one? No. So the first one, the base chakra, is our connection with the inner child, which helps heal the relationship that we have with self. And internally, that improves our health and our happiness. I think I'm saying this right. It sounds okay. And then when we're looking at the divine masculine and the divine feminine, that's what we did yesterday. We connect to that aspect of self, and that helps us heal the relationships that we have with loving partners. And within, it helps us to feel safe and loved. And that is the difference from what I said yesterday. Another thing too that I did change is the ways that we see this playing out in our relationships. Yesterday I was talking about attachment and avoidant, but what I've changed it to is chasing and abandoning, and predator and prey. Because when we're looking at sexual trauma, that comes from predators, but we are stepping into the role of prey. And when we're looking at chasing and abandoning, we abandon ourselves when we're chasing someone's love. But the interesting thing is, whether you're the predator or you're the prey or you're the chaser or you're the abandoner, it comes from the same core wound. And that core wound is, I'm not worthy of love. So when you don't feel worthy of love, you prey upon others, you become the predator, or you allow yourself to be preyed upon. When you don't feel worthy of love, you chase people's love, or you abandon people because you don't feel worthy of their love. And yesterday, in the video, I was kind of getting fired up. And I'm not going to make excuses for myself. There are things that still piss me off. I get pissed off when I see people heavily in addictions, when, they're saying that their kids have problems, yet they're not working on their own shit. But what I realized last night is, of course, people aren't healing, because who's helping us heal? Who's helping us heal? Who's helping us heal trauma? Haven't seen it yet. But that's what I'm here to do. So I'm feeling less fired up and judgy about people not doing this work, because it's not readily available. And I did say yesterday also that the therapist didn't help, the coaches didn't help when I was, talking about my parenting. That's actually not true. I saw a therapist and she really helped me. She was the first person that ever told me to just sit and listen to my son and not judge him, not try to make it into... Every time I ever spent time with my son, what I was always doing was everything had to be productive. We couldn't just sit and talk. I always had to make a lesson out of it, or, whatever it was. We homeschooled for years, and so that was probably a reason for it, but it was also my control issues. So what I'm doing more and more through the years is just listening and not making things be for a purpose. It's just to enjoy someone's company. So yeah, I just wanted to say that and there was some really good teachers too that were really good in helping me see that what was more important were my kids' mental health and my mental health. Working so hard and accomplishing all the time and getting the lessons done on time wasn't as important as our relationships together and our mental health. So I wanted to say that, because I was a little bit harsh on everybody yesterday. And I'm seeing more clearly today and remembering the people that were just fucking instrumental in my healing and his and theirs. So anyway, today we are looking at, like I said, the solar plexus chakra. So this is us connecting to our inner power, which is going to help heal the relationships with our loved ones and our past. And it's going to create within us strength and resilience. I love this because things are flowing more. This chart is really becoming beautiful, and I'm going to keep making videos and talking about this chart and the flow. And I don't know, I just feel like this is my life's work, and I'm really, really excited about it. So when we're feeling angry, that is our cue that something's not right. Now, sometimes shit has happened in our life that is making us angry, and our job is to process it. And other times, most of the time, what it is we're believing thoughts that are not true. Our trauma is being triggered. So when our trauma is triggered, it's painful. And what we do is we run from it and we try to numb it. We stay busy, we worry, we overthink, whatever the fuck it is we do. That's what we do when our trauma is triggered. But what we're here to do is interrupt that cycle, like I was saying before. And when we interrupt the cycle, we go to this chart that I've created. And when we're looking at anger, how we interrupt that cycle is we express our anger. We don't stuff it down and we don't explode on everybody. I used to explode all the time. I was a rageaholic. I would throw shit. I would punch shit. I would kick holes in walls. I had so much fucking rage. So much rage. And through the years, I've expressed it in a healthier way. I've lost my shit. I fucking crashed out. and then I express it in a healthy way again, and then I fuck up again, and then I apologize and I make amends, and then I realize that, like, what can I do next time? Instead of crashing out and yelling, oh, wait a minute, why don't I go to my room and take time out? I'm learning as I go, and I'm becoming so much better. I'm not perfect, but I am better. And one of the, like, the most important thing to remember when we get angry is to respond with love instead of reacting from fear. And the way we do that is to put our hand on our heart, take some nice full deep breaths, and just feel it. And also, what we need to do is express it in a healthy way. Call a friend, go to therapy, do my workshops, do my online Zoom, whatever it is, journal that shit out, but don't be nice about it. Fucking let it out. Like, this is how I wrote my books when I was sick. The first chapter of my book about my breast cancer journey was called What the Fucking Fuck, because I could not believe, after what I had gone through, with my first cancer, healed it, got over it. Then I had to heal my severe depression, my severe anxiety, my PTSD. I didn't heal the PTSD until after the second cancer journey, but holy shit, I lost everything financially. I had to sell my house. I had gone through so much. And then I got a way worse cancer, triple negative breast cancer, where I was told I needed 16 rounds of fucking chemo. I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle. I did not know at that time that I was going to need a double mastectomy. Thank frickin' God, because I could not have handled that. But I wrote and I wrote and I swore and I let it the fuck out. And what I realized at the end of every chapter, because I kept fucking writing, at the end of every chapter, I felt peace. And I felt grateful for the things that remained in my life. And I could see the beauty in life. And then years after, I could see the beauty in the cancer and the hard times and the struggles and the suffering. And it all aligned with life as it was now. Like, it all made me the person that I am today. And so that is such a great way to express it. I have gone into nature. When I moved to that tiny little cabin, I can't remember if I told the story, but after my first cancer journey, I was very suicidal. Didn't think I could save myself from taking my own life. I packed up my bag and I was going to commit myself to a mental hospital. Didn't know if we even had one, but I didn't think I could save myself from taking my own life, which also meant I realized that I would probably lose my kids if that happened. And I was crying the deepest cry I've ever cried, because here I was, this was after my first cancer journey. I'm healthy. I'm good again. And now I'm, severe depression, severe anxiety I've been diagnosed with, and I'm fucking suicidal. And the voices in my head were so mean and nasty, daring me to take my own life, that my kids were way better off with me dead than alive. And it was so sad. And it was so scary. And like I said, I had my bags packed. I was going to go to the mental hospital. And when I sat on the couch, I heard this voice say, "There's another way." And I knew what that voice meant. I knew that voice was saying, hey, it's time to do your fucking work. Because I had been very addicted to many things after leaving my marriage. I was drinking heavily, smoking heavily, didn't get into drugs. Drugs have never been my thing, thank God. But I became addicted to dating and chasing men that did not have my best interest at heart. And I was addicted to a lot of things. And I knew the second I was diagnosed with lymphoma, the first time, the first cancer, I knew that second God was saying, I'm not pissing around here. It's time. It's time. And so I went through that journey and did a whole lot of healing. But like I said, it was when I was diagnosed with severe depression and severe anxiety and felt very suicidal that I realized it was time to do my work. And that's when I started to, that's when I literally gave everything to my healing. I got in the tub every morning first thing, did my 1 hour of meditation, which was feeling my emotions, noticing my thoughts, journaled every day, listened to the audiobooks, Conversations with God, which like changed my life. But it was just like, it was everything that I had in me to heal. And that's when I lost everything financially. I had lost everything financially. I had my own business. You know, I couldn't work through this time, which meant I had zero income, wasn't getting child support. It was a gong show financially. And that's when I realized that I needed to sell my house because that's the only thing I had left. Houses were not selling. But I knew that the only time I didn't want to take my own life was when I was in nature. And so the divine led me to rent this tiny cabin. And like tiny. My daughter and I shared a bed. My son shared his closet with the washer and dryer. Like it was 500 square feet, no basement, tiny, no garage. So I literally gave away and sold everything that I owned. And I just knew when I saw that there was this cabin for rent, I knew I had to rent it. Even though I couldn't afford it, my house hadn't sold. I knew I had to be in nature to save my life. That was the only choice. And I rented it. And 2 days later, my house sold, which meant I had equity to live off of. I don't know if I've shared this story in these videos yet or not. If I did, there's a recap. But what that meant was I went out in nature every single day, for hours. I cried, I screamed, I banged fucking sticks on trees. I enjoyed and I played in nature. But I spent time every single day asking the divine, what is this? What is this life about? What are you? What are we here to do? And that's where my journey began, writing books. So that saved my life. That definitely saved my life. So that is where I learned how to express my anger. And like I said, banging sticks on trees, screaming, and, you know, whatever I needed to do, whatever I felt drawn to do is what I did. But every time, like I said, when I would express that anger, I always felt peace on the other side. And so that is what I'm here to share with you, so you get to that space where you feel the peace on the other side of your anger. Now, practical actions also in life are to listen and speak out. So we want to speak out instead of repress, right? But we also want to listen. And this is what I had to learn with my parenting is to listen to my kids instead of always, you know, trying to be right or trying to accomplish something, just to really listen. And another part of this too, a big part, is forgiveness. And forgiveness is a huge thing, and everybody wants to forgive. They want to forgive themselves. They want to forgive other people. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But what we're missing is accountability. If we forgive ourselves without taking responsibility for what we've done wrong and make our amends and do our healing, then we're just blindly forgiving and we're really not letting go of it. And this is the same with other people. I am so good at forgiving people. But what I'm not good at is holding people accountable. And that does not mean that we have to tell them that we're holding them accountable or make sure that they go to jail or make sure that they pay for what they've done. That is not how the world works right now. And that's okay. It would be great if, if somebody's harmed us in that way, that they would take responsibility and would, you know, um, receive justice for it. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when people hurt us, holding them accountable, meaning we see what they've done to hurt us. And we're not just blindly forgiving and saying it's okay, because it's not. And that is a beautiful thing. And I think that is something that is really missing from what we hear spiritually nowadays. It's not spiritual to sweep everything under the rug and pretend people are so great when they're not. If they've hurt us, they've harmed us in some way. We don't have to judge them. We don't have to blame them. But we also don't have to just blindly forgive them and give them a hall pass for hurting us. So this is all about balance and finding that balance. And as we do this healing, that's what's going to happen. So what we see, this is where our thoughts pull us, is regretting and resenting. So we're looking at our past, right? This is the solar plexus chakra is about healing that relationship with our loved ones and also with our past. And so that is where we start to get these thoughts about regretting or resenting. And that is what pulls us deeper and deeper into the anger. So what we're here to do is to interrupt that cycle and sit with it and express our anger and see, where are we regretting? Where are we resenting? Where are we bullying other people or bullying ourselves? Where are we allowing ourselves to be a victim? And this is going back to our core wound that I am weak, but the bully feels just as weak as the victim. That is why they're trying to bully the victim, right? So this is all about seeing these cycles that we fall into when we have this trauma. So what we're going to do now is the session on the solar plexus and see what shows up. So what we're going to do first is we're going to pick the system that we're working with, and the system that shows up today is the circulatory system. Okay, so we're going to focus on that. And when we look at body part, we are looking at the abdomen. Okay. And when we're looking at the brain, we're going to work with the amygdala, which is so interesting. I just love how these cards are always so on point. So the amygdala is what triggers fight or flight. It deals with reactions, survival, aggression, submission, freezing, showing love and affection. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to heal those parts of the amygdala that are putting us into these overreactions. And our thoughts are what do it. So if there's a bear chasing us, we're going to get into fight or flight. But if we're thinking thoughts that are scary, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, if we're thinking thoughts about the past and it makes us angry, we're putting ourselves into fight or flight. So what I'm talking about when I'm talking about interrupting this trauma cycle, the trauma that we're storing comes from, like I said, the stories that we tell ourselves about what happened. It's not the trauma itself, because there are many people that could go through the same thing and they're all going to store a different experience from it. They're all going to carry something forward from it. A very healthy person, healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, is going to be like, well, that fucker hurt me. That's a they problem. Fuck them. Like, right? That would actually be a very healthy response to have when somebody hurts us. And we would move forward and not talk to that person again and not have anything to do with that person again. But an unhealed person, somebody who already has core wounds that have not healed yet, that person is going to be like, well, what did I do wrong? Why did this happen? Did I deserve this? It's my fault. I shouldn't have done this. I need this person's love, so I'm going to forgive them and I'm not going to hold them accountable. These are all things that we do. And so as children, like I said, we're always taking responsibility for everybody else's actions. When people hurt us, we make it our faults. And then we tell ourselves the story. I am weak. I don't deserve to be loved. I'm not good enough. And we believe those things over and over and over. And that belief system is the trauma. It's not what happened to us. It's what we're carrying forward. The story that we're believing to be true about what happened. And so we know that we're carrying trauma because we're finding ourselves in these situations. And there's an exception to every rule, obviously. Some things are just random. Somebody just hurts you. Somebody just harms you. Yes, but usually, like, if we're getting into bad relationships, it's because we're attracted to that person for some reason, because we have unhealed trauma. When we're stuck in addictions, it's because we have unhealed trauma. When we're depressed or anxious or we have PTSD or we're not healthy, that is coming from unhealed trauma. So when we start to see this and we begin to heal it, that's where, and like I said, it's not like a one and done, like you come for a session with me and your trauma's all healed, or you come to a healing circle and your trauma's all healed, or you meditate for 6 days in a row, your trauma's all healed. No, we're getting rid of it. We're healing it. We're transforming what's trapping you piece by piece by piece. This is a lifetime. This is a lifetime journey where we continue to face these parts of us that are not healed. And we know that we're not healed because our trauma is being triggered. Life triggers our trauma because it's there. If we're not triggered, we're going to be peaceful people. We're going to be happy people. We're going to be healthy people. But when we start to have overreactions, we're stuck in addictions, we're stuck in life, we're not healthy, we're not taking care of ourselves. These are all ways of showing us that we have unhealed trauma. When we're angry, like, emotions are healthy to have when shit's going on in our lives. But when we're angry because of the thoughts that we're thinking, or we're sad because of the thoughts that we're thinking, all of this stuff is happening because we're believing stories that are not true. But like I said, sometimes, there's a breakup, so we're sad. Obviously, that makes sense. But either way, whether it's coming from something that's going on in your life right now, or something that you're thinking about that went on in the past, or worried about in the future, whatever that is, the solution is always the same. Feel those emotions. Notice the thoughts that you're thinking about it. Are you seeing it clearly, like it happened because it happened? And are you learning from it? Are you gaining strength and resilience from it? Or are you making excuses for it? Are you blaming people for it? Are you blaming yourself? Are you pulling yourselves back into the trauma, or are you healing it? And that's what we're here to do together. So I'm just going to ask you to place your hand on your heart. I've talked a lot already, but it's all very important. So I invite you to place your hand on your heart. Take some nice full deep breaths. And put your hand on your belly. Put both hands on your belly because that's where your solar plexus is. And we're also looking at our abdomen, our circulatory system. Our solar plexus chakra deals with the endocrine is the pancreas. And we're looking at the organs of the liver and the gallbladder meridians. So that's dealing with processing anger and making decisions. So don't try to remember all of this. Don't try to focus on all of it. The work is being done. So just allow it to be done. And just feel this peace flowing through your mind. Feel joy flowing through your heart. Feel love and light and healing moving through all of your cells. And feel yourself aligning with truth. And feel yourself connecting to that inner power where you're strong enough to forgive and hold people accountable at the same time. You're strong enough to listen and speak out. We're finding the balance because some people listen too much and never speak out, and some people speak out too much and never listen. So it's to find that balance. Some people never forgive and are always trying to hold people accountable, and some people are always forgiving and never holding people accountable. And we're finding the balance between all of it. And what we're connecting to is the beauty of anger. Anger moves our emotions. If we stay stuck in our anger by repressing it or over expressing it, and there's healthy expression of anger and there's unhealthy expression of anger. If you're losing your shit all over the place, crashing out, that's not healthy expression. But when you're venting with the purpose of healing, that is healthy expression. Not when you're getting stuck in the story and you want to pull everybody into your pity party. It's about sitting down and journaling or going to a therapist or doing work with me, whatever works. Best friend. Do not talk to people who have advice for you or get pulled into your story. Find people that are good at holding a space, meaning I'm listening, but I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm not and I have no advice for you. We don't want people with advice. So let's sit with that and feel this balance of I'm just sitting, there's something going on and I see it moving through our cells. Oh, okay, so it's actually moving through every cell and it's just showing up as balance. And this is where it's like balancing listening and speaking out, balancing forgiveness and accountability. And how we're seeing it in our cells is balancing peace and anger, because we don't want to just feel like we have to be at peace all the time and then we judge ourselves for being angry. It's okay to be angry. It's just not okay to be stuck in it, but it's also not okay to repress it and suppress it. I don't even know what the difference is. So let's sit with that. And really sit with this belief system, this core wound, the story that you told yourself about trauma in your life that caused you to feel like you're weak. And like I said, people that feel weak become bullies, but people that feel that they're weak become the victim of the bully. and really sit with where you've been in your life. Look at the relationships with your loved ones. Look at anything that's showing up from your past. And we're just here to observe. We're not here to trace your trauma, track your trauma. What we're here to do is heal it. And so, in order to do that, we are clearing energy from your solar plexus chakra that is holding you back from generating your emotions. And we're looking once again at the liver and this overreactive, under-functioning liver. Because if you're thinking too much about things, what's happening is your organs are doing an emotional job over and over and over, or a mental job over and over and over, but they're not doing their functional job, which is their physical job. Our organs all, and our body parts, they all have an emotional job, a mental job, a physical job, and a spiritual job, which is the connection and the aligning with the truth and love and light and healing. Love, joy, peace, and truth. I'm just sitting with this because something's showing up. Okay, so that's our spiritual job, our spiritual health of our body parts and organs and cells. And when we're thinking too much or stuck in these emotions, they don't have time to do their physical job. And so with the liver, that means if we're not processing our anger properly, we're not processing our food properly. Gallbladder meridian means we're not making proper decisions. We're making decisions that are, hurried and hasty and not grounded in truth, like divine truth. And then when we're looking at the spleen, that is also like the endocrine system, the part of the endocrine system that we're working with. When we're looking at the solar plexus chakra, and when our pancreas is not functioning properly, our blood sugar levels are spiking and dropping. And so what we're doing is bringing that into balance also. Wow, we're doing a lot of work here. Okay, so this is interesting because it feels like a lot of us are carrying excess belly weight, and that's what that is from, is we are, and this is going into this accountability thing. We're not holding people accountable for hurting us. We're nicing it up instead of taking action. And action doesn't mean calling them and telling them off, or, telling other people, but it's like, wait a fucking minute. That wasn't okay. Why am I putting up with that? Why am I allowing that? Why am I forgiving that? Like, that's not true forgiveness. When somebody hurts you and you're just sweeping it under the rug, that's really not forgiveness, because you're still stuck in regret and resentment. And that shit is eating you alive. So that is eating at your stomach lining, your intestinal tract, your digestive enzymes. Things are not functioning properly because you think you're forgiving when you're not. You think you're forgiving when you're not. Okay, I'm just going to sit with that. So put your hand on your heart. Actually, put your hand on your belly and breathe that in. So forgiveness means I give myself peace. But like I said, forgiveness with accountability is not really forgiving anybody. And holding people accountable and never forgiving them is not healthy either. So it's to find that balance. And what's going to happen in the next, 72 hours is you're going to start to have dreams or visions or memories of things that people did to hurt you. And you're just going to be like, that wasn't fucking okay. But interestingly enough, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. It's just a matter of, we're actually going through the amygdala, but we're also going through the thalamus, which is the part of the brain that sees everything that's happening as we're being hurt in some way. And it reminds us to either chase that person's love, because eventually we'll get it if we didn't get it from our parent, or abandon, just a second, or push away love because it's a waste of fucking time. Neither one is healthy. What else was on here? Yeah, I'm just sitting with that. That's going back down into the masculine-feminine connection. But we're going back down and revisiting things that hurt us to heal that chakra as well, with this power from the solar plexus chakra, now that it's feeling that power. And we're aligning with truth and connecting to this power, this divinely protected, divinely led power internally. Where we get to choose the relationships that we want, the situations that we want, the opportunities that we want. And when we can balance listening and speaking out, and what's the other one? Forgiveness and accountability, and being able to express our anger, we're going to reach a state of peace. And when we reach a state of peace, our intuition will begin to speak. And we will attract relationships, situations, opportunities that are so good for us. So breathe that in and feel that moving through every cell in your body, your mind, your heart, your cells, your soul, even though your soul doesn't need any work. It's realigning with your soul's destiny, purpose for you. The blueprint that you were here to express in this lifetime. Whew, okay, that was really great. So I thank you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.